Hello everyone, I'm Siva.K. I'm pursuing BTech SC AI and ML at NextWave Institution of Advanced Technology. Today I'm here to present my full stack web development application. WebStack Academy is a premium educational technology platform specializing in live, high impact online courses and internships focusing on modern MERN stack development. The Academy roadmap relies entirely on project based hands on learning pipelines aimed at entry level graduates and transitioning industry professionals. Internship structure conducted as an intensive 1 month structured online engagement optimizing real world full stack development cycles. Included regular interactive concepts training, rigorous technology concept quizzes to evaluate learning progression, and structured live interactions. Internship overview, scope, and focus. The training focused heavily on client server lifecycle management, database modeling paradigm, and transactional REST API protocols. Acquired robust experience building modular routing models and connecting interfaces securely over state boundaries. Technology mastered. Learned standard tools including HTML5, CSS3, ES6, JavaScript, React, Node.js, Express.js, and MongoDB. Incorporated industry standard version control flows via Git and GitHub pipelines to support agile workspaces. Internship objectives, front-end and responsive layout designs. Mastered declarative modern UI architectures, styling variables, and device responsive frameworks. Robust REST API development. Build efficient router files in Express capable of processing crude payloads and throwing structured errors. NoSQL database modeling. Model persistent, highly normalized datasets, index variables, and connect systems securely using connection pools. E2E software lifecycle delivery. Transaction draw features request from localized scripts into verified functional full stack applications. What is full stack web development? Full stack web development is a multi-tiered architecture split into three vital components working in unison. The front end, client side, the visual representation and user interaction zone. Build using HTML for native layout blueprints, CSS for responsive visual styles, JS to inject dynamic logic into components, and React.js to manage layout rendering efficiently through a virtual DOM. The backend, server side, the processing engine and logic vault. Running on Node.js, it operates on Express.js instance that listen for HTTP requests sent by the front-end browser. The backend verifies credentials, executes business formulas, enforces security rules, and determines what data to fetch or modify. The database storage layer, the persistent system where user profiles, historical logs, inventories, and transaction table are safely housed. In a main project, this is MongoDB, which handle high throughput operations using JSON-like documents. And how they work together, a user triggers an action. Example, clicking a button to add a food items to the cart. The front end intercepts the click, packages the payload, and dispatches an asynchronous HTTP request over the network. The backend server receives the network packet, evaluates the permission using middleware, coordinates with the database to update tables, and packages the result. The server returns an HTTP status code along with clean JSON data back to the browser. The front end accepts the data, updates its internal state, and automatically re-renders the interface cleanly without forcing a full page reload. Let me explain why I used full stack development here. Full stack development refers to the end-to-end development of a web application. It involves working across both the client side, what the user sees and interacts with in their browser, and the server side, the underlying logic, databases, server routing, and cloud APIs that power the interface. A full stack developer bridges these two domains, handling data architecture, system development, and user experience design seamlessly. MERN stack. The MERN stack is a premier open source JS software stack engineered to build adaptive web application completely in JS. Firstly, it used MongoDB. It is a database type NoSQL document store. Instead of using fixed rows and relational tables like SQL, MongoDB securely nests application structures inside flexible collections of JSON-like documents. This schema-less design allows you to data schema to morph organically as requirements shift. Secondly, Express.js backend framework. Its type is minimalist Node.js web application framework. Express acts as a routing controller for the server. It strips away the tedious, low-level HTTP boilerplates of raw Node.js, providing an accessible layer to register route endpoints, hook up validation middleware, and cleanly return server response. React.js front-end UI library. Type component-driven declarative UI library. Maintained by Meta React Manager, the application's view layer. By organizing layouts into modular, reusable components, it updates specified screen elements dynamically via its internal visual DOM algorithm, ensuring exceptional UI rendering speeds. Finally, Node.js runtime environment. Type asynchronous event driver JS runtime. Built on Google Chrome High Octane V8 engine, Node.js allows JS code to run natively outside the web browser on local machines or cloud nodes. It handles heavily non-blocking asynchronous operations with ease. Project Introduction. SaaS food delivery application designed and built a scalable web platform to bridge local restaurant vendors and consumers through responsive, secure data streams, addressing latency bottlenecks in SaaS queries and handles secure checkout transactions via robust state coordination target built for high frequency workflows. Project requirements, core segment, authentication, functional requirements, robust login, session JW tracking, and cryptographical hash to password, non-functional standards, sub-second transaction validations, card and menu, functional requirements, dynamic quantities, instant item totals, and real-time category filtered tools, non-functional standards, optimized UI states with zero lags, order management, functional requirements, creative active records, indexing vendors catalogs, and retrieving history list, non-functional standards, maintains strict data persistence integrity, security or UX, protected route access guards, and fully responsive view on all screens, non-functional standards, implements defensive API validation checks. System architecture. Firstly, client view. React Spa UI triggers UI actions. Second, API route. Cores unblocks requests over HTTPS. Third, logic server. Express or Node run security and validation. Fourth, persistence. Mongo's queries MongoDB, NoSQL. This architectural blueprint ensures complete separation of concerns. Client requests flow from the presentation layer through our secure modular validation middleware before reaching database persistent collections. Database design models. User model stores name, email, secure bcrypt, hashed passwords, role permissions, and active status tokens. Restaurant models save store identifiers, locations, categories, menu arrays, and operational flags. Finally, order models maintain customer identifiers, item objects, transaction dates, and status progress logs. Implementation details. Front-end code architecture. Constructed modular components following atomic design rules. Managed user session using secure React context hooks to avoid state prop drilling. Implementation protected browser routes, ensuring that unauthenticated users are seamlessly redirected to registration vaults. Backend and database setup. Decoupled Express routes into dedicated files using clean model view controller MVC structures. Handled database calls through Mongo's models. Configured standard parsing and secure authentication middlewares to handle transactional route operations safely. Features implemented. User authentication security. Protected sign-in system maintaining safe user status across page refreshes. Fluid component dashboard, a centralized control layout organizing multiple interactive products item cleanly into doc-themed visual grids. Adaptive responsive layouts, flexible UI scaling built around a mobile-first fluid design paradigm. Complete engine code processing, full implementation of create, read, update, and delete operation for code items and menus. Dynamic data queries, advanced sorting algorithms, instant keyboard searching, and taxonomy filtering built into backend routes. Integrated REST API routing, clean communication paths established across all architectural tiers. Challenges faced and mitigations. The typo dependency nightmare, Mongo's E404 error, The issue I faced attempting to install backend modules through a fatal npm error 404 not found for the package mongoose. I resolved this issue by diagnosed as a minor typo in the terminal installation script, corrected the syntax to the official Mongo library npm I mongoose, which instantly resolved the dependency black. Secondly, browser blockage, CORS policy violation. The issue I faced, the React client's localhost 3000 could not fetch mail from the backend localhost 5000 as browsers blocked cross origin request. The resolution I found integrated the Express CORS middleware package to safely inject the proper access control headers into backend response. And finally, exposed credential and data security vulnerability. The issue I faced, pushing database connection and security tokens directly inside the code base risk leaking private access keys to GitHub. The resolution I figured out, configured .env to abstract all environment settings into an isolated local .env files and added into Git ignore to keep secrets safe. Future improvements: payment gateway integration, incorporating secure payment portals like Razorpay or Stripe to process sandbox payments, real-time WebSocket messaging, leveraging socket.io to operate immediate notification alert and live order tracking, automated logistics optimization, integrating AI routing models to map out efficient transact direction for delivery drivers, advanced cloud deployments, deploying the backend onto AWS or render clusters and hosting the frontend via Wetzel networks, native cross-platform application, porting the core logic into React Native to build dedicated iOS and Android applications. To demonstrate the core architecture of the app, let's track a food order transaction. When a user interacts with the UI, pages like home.jsx and menu.jsx display dynamic data. Adding a dish to the card triggers an active via cardaction.js, which instantly dispatches an update to our global Redux state inside cardslice.js. When the checkout button is clicked, a post request is sent to our backend order.js router. Before any financial processing happens, the request is intercepted by our custom security middleware authorized roles.js. This ensures the user session is authenticated and prevent unauthorized access to the ordering system. Once a user passes authorization, the request hits the order controller.js. The controller communicates with the payment gateway through payment controller.js to handle the transaction safely. If the payment succeeds, the controller calculates final details and manages the order creation. Finally, the transaction data is mapped against our Mongo's order.js data model, establishing a clean schema for items, quantities, and pricing before committing it to the database. Throughout this entire lifecycle, utilized like errorhandle.js run globally to catch any network dropouts gracefully. Conclusion: during this internship, I gained practical experience in full stack web development using the MERN stack. I learned how to build responsive front-end application, developer backend APIs, connect database, and create complete web application. This internship enhanced my technical knowledge, problem-solving skills, and confidence in developing real-world projects. Thank you.